You have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla.
Wake up, everyone!
There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe now. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Listen, tonight we got joining us. Anybody in the kaiju community knows this guy. Not even just the kaiju community, just the collecting community knows this guy. Attack Peter, man. How's it going, dude?
Hey, man. Thank you so much, Nick. Appreciate it. And Jay, thank you guys for having me. I'm so stoked, man. Like, you know, I love being able to talk about this stuff with, folks who really get it. So anytime, happy to be here.
Yeah, dude. We appreciate it.
I said that's the first time I've ever been told that I get something. So I thank you. I love it. We're having you back already. We're booking you, but no, it is. It truly is an honor for us. Like we try to engage as much as we can within like the greater kaiju community and the creators and all the great minds out there. And you, my friend, are at the top of the loquacious, lauded lord of the lithograph print. I just a huge fan, and you know, it's just cool to have you on here, man.
Oh, dude, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna steal that. We're gonna put that in the byline somewhere. But yeah, dude, like we were talking about just quickly before we went online. I watch all the shows, and you know, I tune in the same way as everybody else does. Like one of my favorite things about the post-COVID world is, or whatever you call this era that we're in, is that so many of us got extra comfortable, hanging out with our friends online on YouTube, and now I feel like there's always something good to check out and watch. Mm-hmm. And it feels like that vibe that I'm sure you guys nostalgically remember, if unless you're lucky enough to still have it, going to the comic shop on Wednesday and hanging with your buds and catching up on what's going on this past week and what you're excited for and all that. So I love doing it. I do it as often as I can.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. I mean, that's why we started the show, kind of, is just because me and Jay are sitting around talking about Godzilla all the time, and we're like, hey, let's record this.
It's like we got to get out of the echo chamber and like actually meet some other people and some other opinions. And it turned out to be.
Yeah, I'm still surprised anybody's listening to us. I just feel like it's still just me and Jay all the time.
Yeah, and it's also like a launching point, like it's a fun like way to get together with people, and you kind of like assume that if you dig this and you have this in common, you'll probably have a lot of other things in common. Because it's while it's like a globally recognized IP and brand, it is a certain type of fan that gets into it at this level, and just enjoying and appreciating what's out there, what's coming out, and who's got what in their collection, all that kind of stuff. It's killer, man. Yeah, I love it.
Awesome. For sure. For anybody who's listening, maybe that might not know you as well, I know we have a little bit of a weird part of an audience that is new to kaiju and collecting, and maybe they're not sure what exactly we're talking about sometimes. Tell us a little bit about what you do, man.
Yeah, so thanks, man. Yeah, so my name is Peter Santa Maria, on the internet known as Attack Peter, but you don't have to call me Attack Peter if you ever bumped into me. In fact,
Mr. Attack Peter.
I was going to say, in fact, I politely request that you call me Reverend. No, I'm just kidding. Peter is just fine, but yeah, so I make a lot of artwork, and a lot of that artwork got put on the map because of the Godzilla posters I did starting in 2020 with Toho and Mondo. I had been doing a lot of artwork for almost 8 years before that, and it was getting bigger and bigger every year. But that release with Mondo like pushed me into a different stratosphere in terms of people being aware of what I do, and now I'm an artist who works at Skybound Entertainment. So for those of you who don't know, that's Skybound Entertainment puts out comics, movies, toys, books, games, everything you can think of in pop culture. And it was started by Robert Kirkman, creator of Walking Dead, and David Alpert, CEO of the company. And so I'm super uniquely lucky in that regard because I was content to continue the climb of being an independent artist who also, I was, a teacher as my day job for 13 years. I taught all grade levels and art primarily. And so I was happy to do it, little by little. The artwork was making more and more, becoming more and more a part of my income. So I was able to transition more and more of my energy and resources to that. But when Skybound stepped in, they're like, we just want to develop Attack Peter as a brand, and help do everything that is, that would get in the way of you being creative. And then you just focus on the artwork and the creative. I mean, I really thought that it was the Matrix or some kind of like weird. Yeah, it's beyond the dream because I look around. I'll be honest with you, and Skybound knows this. At first, I was so nervous. I'm like, what is this? There's what happens if, we disagree on something or, what do I, and so I looked around the industry for any analog, like any parallel situation. There was nothing like it except for record labels and artists. So like, an independent artist gets discovered by a record label who pushes them and all that kind of stuff. And having a background in music, it clicked for me all of a sudden what it was. And I got a chance to talk to some good artist friends of mine who were like, dude, just go with it because you're never going to get a chance like this. And luckily, to be honest with you, I was comforted by the fact that it was Robert's company, and Robert Kirkman, if you know anything about him, he's like the creator's creator, came up as a fan of Image Comics, the like salvo of the independent creator. And so I knew I was in good hands. And for the last 2.5 years, that's what we've been doing is they've kind of like been helping me build the brand, getting more eyes on it. Negotiating better deals so I don't get screwed over in certain contract negotiations, which I gotta tell you, a lot of us get screwed over because we're so desperate to make sure we have another, gig coming down the pipeline or that we're going to get exposure and all this kind of stuff. And, not all companies, some of them are very, very good to an independent artist. But some companies really like to, put you over their lap and make you beg to get another gig. And so Skybound takes care of me in that regard. And anyway, so long story short, we're slowly getting to the point now where we're about to launch Takaro, my original monster, and his world and his universe and the story around him as a proper IP at Skybound, which is super exciting.
Man, dude, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, especially as like a kaiju fan, creating your own kaiju, that you can see fitting in this larger world. And I also think the kaiju community has been pretty like super open to other people creating their own original kaiju. It's like, it's a big, exciting thing. That's very cool that you were able to get hooked up with that.
Thanks, man. You know what's crazy when you think about it? It's one of the best fandoms. Like in terms of even the infighting is super chill. Like there's not like other fandoms when you go into other groups and boards. Like, oh my god, like everybody in the kaiju community is super laid back, super chill. It's like everybody is on Monster Island, just like sitting back and watching it. Yeah, Skybound is super kaiju friendly. They have Ultra Mega, which if you guys haven't checked out Ultra Mega, or anybody watching, strongly recommend Ultra Mega by James Heron. It's phenomenal. And our approach is a little bit different, but I think you guys will dig it. When does this air, by the way?
It will be Jay's on his way to G-Fest tomorrow. Right? So usually this is out by the next day or so. It's going to be up to how quick Jay gets it edited. Within the hotel Wi-Fi. Within the next few days, hopefully the next day or so.
But is it before or after you'd guess Monday the 18th?
Oh, it'll be before then. Yeah,
before.
Then I won't say something.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Secrets.
Yeah. Just know Monday the 18th, something really cool will be announced that you guys will really dig. I'll tell you guys off the air.
So, Peter, I got to ask because when we were, a lot of people, when they first see you, your style of art is so unique to us, especially not just the kaiju community, just people that just enjoy art and stuff. So can you talk how you got into this kind of craft of the linoleum printmaking, woodblock printmaking type stuff? Because it's so cool and so unique, but I feel it's one of those things that we've all kind of seen or kind of whatever at some point in our lives, but maybe never to like the degree or using it in the same way that you're using the medium. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Absolutely. Yeah. So I work primarily in linoleum block prints, which I'll send you guys some links if you want to splice something in to show it. But essentially, I take a piece of linoleum, which is like a leathery surface, like, and I carve a design into it. It's like making a giant stamp. And then once the carving is done, I roll ink on the carving and press paper onto it, and I make a print like that. So anytime you see one of my prints, unless it's specifically like a screen print or something, which is rare, they're all handmade one at a time by me here at my house. There's no other, I have an assistant who's worked with me a few times, although she's blowing up, so she doesn't have time to work with me anymore. Andrea. So yeah, at Andius on Instagram. But yeah, so I do them all by hand. And so anytime you get one of these, you're getting start to finish. The paper's handmade. The carving is done by hand. The print is done by hand. So start to finish, it's a handmade product. And usually they're pretty big. They're 20 by 30 prints. So you can get something nice and substantial, although we have some half size and smaller sizes too that I do from time to time. But yeah, so it's a heavily process-based medium. Like sometimes you're drawing, sometimes you're carving, sometimes you're inking it, sometimes you're printing it. And like you said, Jay, it's something that I think a lot of us experiment with in middle school, art class, sometimes in high school or college. You'll get a chance to take printmaking. And that's how I got into it, not as a student, but as a teacher when I started teaching art to young kids. Yeah. I did it like as a student, like most of us, but and in college I never took the class, but I used to always sneak into the printmaking class because it was booked every time I tried to take it. But I wasn't like any good or anything at it back then. I didn't know what I was doing. But teaching it to little kids and working with other great art teachers, I would see what they would do. And it was every year, to a man, the favorite project for kids in art class. In fact, it was a great medium to get kids who were apprehensive or straight up nervous and stressed out about drawing to let loose a little bit, because you could just do like a triangle and it would look cool as a print.
Right.
Like just because you get to like, everybody wants to get to the carving anyway. So I say, just do a triangle, or just do your letter, your initial, whatever, carve it, print it. And once you go through the rounds one time and you go, oh, it was pretty fun, and I got something like finished looking, they're usually more open to trying something a little bit more adventurous the next go around. So it was a cool way to sneakily teach kids how to draw little by little.
That's cool. I bet it's also, I bet it's also a little more rewarding to be like, to be putting all that work into a carving, not knowing exactly what it's going to look like, and then when you do the stamp, you're just like, oh shit, like
rewarding is one way to refer to it. But yeah, what's funny, man, is like I am constantly like riddled with the anxiety of like an imposter syndrome, or like,
dude, don't we all, man?
Yeah. And I love it, of course, we all, and then not only that, it's like I can't erase after a certain point, it's carved out, right. Or like, my sketches are dog shit. I'll send you guys some if you want to post them, but like the ones that I'll send you the ones that I submit to Toho unknowingly at first, and then when I realized that they were cool, that I kept sending them shitty sketches because they trusted me at that point. Thank God. And but every step of the way, I feel like I'm not as good. I mean, dude, like being at Skybound, my artwork is always juxtaposed with literally some of the greatest artists work, like Ryan Otley, the fucking golden god, like he did Invincible, Amazing Spider-Man. Like every once in a while, I see his kick-ass art, and then right next to it, mine. I'm like, oh shit! Like I hope you guys like eclectic stuff, because that's really different. But I always get that sense of like an imposter syndrome, or like it. And anyway, the point is, what I was trying to say is, all these processes require you to like constantly move on, and having so many deadlines that I gotta hit, whether I'm ready or not. It trains you to just move on. And you get to a point where you realize that it's my ego that causes me to focus in when something is not perfect or not to my liking, because when I think something is kicking ass, I'm like, oh my God, this is my best piece yet. People are going to flip. I put it out and it's like crickets all the fucking day long. And if I put something out that I thought was like, oh my God, this is where I lose 30,000 followers in one day. And that's the thing that blows up. So I no longer like get stuck on that shit. I just say, I don't know what I'm doing. And I've made a living out of not knowing what I'm doing. I'm just going to not overthink it. Just keep going and see how long I can keep this going. You know what I mean? So, but I think that's the secret sauce of it all is just let's see.
That's the way to do it. Don't let it stress you out. Just
I still get stressed. I just try to work right through the stress. Stress is the norm.
How did you end up getting hooked up with like Mondo and Toho and all this?
It's a really good story, a good lesson actually in nobody knows anything. So just do whatever you. This is my takeaway, Jacob, from being able to do this for the time I've done it. Is I felt like the outsider of the outsiders. You know, I live in Miami, Florida. Yeah, it's an art city, but it's not like a pop culture art city. Like we have a con now, and it's really cool, Florida Super Con. But it was a while where we didn't. Like bands don't even come here on tour rarely because it's so far away. It's not worth the gas. And so it's like a desert of pop culture. And I would always feel like an outsider, like, man, how am I ever going to crack this code, man? How am I ever going to get in there? You know? And I always thought that the pop culture, Comic-Con world industry, like whatever that you want to call that, was like this shining city on the hill that one day I'll just figure out how to get in. And once I'm in, everything is going to be smooth, clockwork. Everybody's going to know what they're doing. Like literally, like, you know, Stan Lee would walk me in through, come do an alternate cover for Marvel. You know, Jim Lee would be like, oh, you know, I would love to see your take on Batman right this way, sir. And everything would be smooth. And what I've learned is the good news is everybody is super cool and enthusiastic about this. The bad news is most of the time everybody's white knuckling to the deadline, like, oh shit, I hope we get this out. You know, so if you have anything in your collection behind you that you appreciate it more because it's a fucking miracle that it exists. That's what I've learned, and I'm telling you that from working with all these kick-ass people. Everybody is like, oh my God, I don't know. Okay. You know, it's everybody. So that's a long way around of saying that I used to worry about approaching people with an ask, you know, thinking that there was like a certain way that things are done. Like you just got to respect the process and the hierarchy, right. and you know, you got to pay your dues, et cetera, et cetera. And to some extent that is all true. But the reality is, if you're honest with yourself and you can critique yourself sincerely and say, you know what, I'm fucking better today than I was yesterday, but I got a long way to go till, you know, tomorrow type of situation, right? If you get to a point where you're like, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I know I'm respectable. You know, I know I can hang. At that point, go after something, right? And I started going after following like the energy and the feedback I would get at my local cons. I would do cons in Miami, Tampa, Orlando, and I would do all kinds of prints: Star Wars, Godzilla, you know, Universal monsters and whatever, original designs. And the most hype was always around whenever I did like a Godzilla, King Kong, Gamera, stuff like that. And if I did somebody that was not a giant monster, if I made them kind of like monstrous, like people dug that. And so I started like doubling down on that. And I eventually, long story short, I got myself out of Florida for the first con ever after, you know, like 6 years of being scared to ship my artwork out of the state for fear of it getting damaged. And a lot of naysaying artists would tell me, don't even bother. No one's going to like your shit there. We love you, but no one else is going to dig it. Just enjoy your success there in Miami. And then one artist, Brian Ewing, who's an amazing artist and an even better person. Check his work out if you don't know. He told me, dude, no one's going to ever find out about you if you don't get the fuck out of Florida just for one show at least. Right. And he shamed me into applying for a designer con in 2018 so I went to apply and it was already booked. And I go, oh, whew, now I can't look like a fucking pussy for not doing it. Like, it's booked. And I tell him, oh, Brian, I really tried, buddy. And it was sold out. And he goes, oh, don't worry. I got the link for the wait list. Here you go. And I go, fuck. And so, mind you, the show's like less than 2 months away at this point. I haven't even started preparing. I don't even have like a display banner. I am fucked when it comes to preparations. I wasn't expecting on doing it. I applied for the wait list and I got in, motherfucker. And so I was like shit or get off the pot time. And I just went into like, you know, that autopilot, like override imposter syndrome mode and just got my shit ready. I sent it off. I said, you know, holy shit, I hope it gets there. Bought plane tickets, got a hotel room. And my booth was all, I don't know if you've ever been to Designer Con, but it was all the way in the back of the Anaheim Convention Center, like behind the bathroom pillar. I'm like, all this money and no one's even going to see me. Whatever. It turned out that it didn't matter because people were making the rounds and Sideshow came to see me. Brian Flynn from Super 7. I didn't know any of these people. They came to see me. They all wanted to work with me on something. I'm like, holy shit. Shag, the artist, I don't know if you know him, but he's been an awesome, like, what a class act, just so you know. That guy came and bought a print off of me and told me I got to do this and that and the other. And then I met these guys from the Kevin Workman Foundation, which is a nonprofit in San Diego. And what they do is to honor one of their deceased friends. They look for an up-and-coming artist every year, and they give him a free, all-expenses-paid trip to San Diego Comic-Con with a booth, hotel, dude, flight, and it was an arduous process. I had to like apply, but I won the award, and when I got there, it was insane, dude. I was not ready. I sold out of everything like in the first night because I was pricing it too cheaply, apparently.
Right.
I just happened to have a batch of extra prints at my house. I had my brother overnight them, and I got a migraine the second day. I had to leave the show early. It was fucking crazy, dude. And at that show is where I met Skybound, by the way. They just Dave Alpert, the CEO, DA, he just walked by and goes, I gotta talk to you. Here's my card, and like that. And then Mondo, to get back to your original question, they were set up a few aisles down from me, like easily like a good 50 yards, well, let's say 30 yards. But their line wrapped around and created a fortress around my booth of people that nobody even knew I was there. I'm like, what the fuck? Now, I go, Mondo, you fucks. And so what I did, I'll pause the story for a second to take you back in time for a minute. When I was starting to get some traction before all of this, I noticed that I would always look on my Instagram to see who followed me. Like if you followed me, if you were a random person, I would still see who you were. Yeah. Because you never know. Like sometimes you get someone following you that like it might be a conversation that you can start, and now they started following you, so it's their fault. Now they're gonna get a conversation. And so one of the guys that followed me was a guy named Matt Hardiman who worked at Mondo at the time.
Hey, I know him. I know him personally because he used to live in my town. I know Matt. That's insane.
Wow.
Matt is almost single-handedly responsible for me getting the boost. Yes, dude. And so he followed me. I said, dude, love Mondo. He goes, oh, I love your work. I'll tell you what. I will send you a shit ton of free prints as long as you take another shit ton and take them to the offices and leave them in the break room. And that's how it started, right? So then that was a few months before Comic-Con. I get to Comic-Con, the line, I got to dismantle this line. And I go to the Mondo booth and I go introduce myself and they go, oh, you're here? We're coming to your booth. They come over, Mitch and Rob Jones and Eric and the whole gang. And they were just so freaking nice. And that whole week, everybody was coming to hand me a business card and they're going, oh, we got to work with you on something. We got to work with you something. But I was already kind of like doing well at that point, getting some good gigs. I did a Super 7 sideshow. All and so now I'm like, I want to do a Godzilla print. Do you have the Toho license? And people will be like, nah, we don't. Nobody has a Toho license. Are you kidding me? That shit's impossible. Right. And I go, and the next person would come up, hey, we're here with such and such. We'd love to make a fucking coffee mug with your, And I'm like, oh, cool. Do you have the Toho license? Like, nah, nobody has that, kid. Calm down. Get the fuck back to Miami, you piece of shit. And so finally, when Mondo comes over, they go, you want to do something? I'm like, well, I'm trying to do something with somebody who has a Toho license. Like, do you guys know anybody who has a Toho license? At this point, I didn't even assume they would have it. Go, do you know anybody who has a Toho license? And Rob Jones, like in a movie, he looks at me. He's like 7,000 feet tall, and I'm like 2 inches tall compared to him. So he looks down at me and he goes, puts his glasses down. He goes, oh, we have the Toho license. It was like out of a movie, and I'm like, oh shit, it was like a Bill and Ted moment. So that was all those things had to happen. Is the reason for that long ass story. All those things had to happen to get to a place where the irresistible force and the immovable object can come together, and we were able to do it. And it was just off to the races after that. They've been so good to me.
That's such a crazy.
But you have to
story,
ask.
dude.
That's the moral of the story. Ask everyone.
Yeah.
Ask everyone.
That's so amazing.
I was curious, that when we think of kaiju and Mondo, we think of two people. We think of you and friend of the podcast, Mr. Tom Whalen. So I got to ask you, who has more kaiju cred, you or Tom Whalen?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Tom Whalen is an adult. He's an actual adult. He's a professional and a gentleman. So
he's an amazing guy.
If you just say who has more credibility in any regard, it's that guy. You kidding me? Like, he can get through a whole sentence without cursing. And you should see I'll tell you a funny thing. When I'm on some email chains where every once in a while we're submitting sketches, and like I told you, mine are just like somebody had a seizure on the page. It's like the sketches are so bad. But Tom Whalen's sketches, you could just print them. I swear, it's like he's trying to it's
like a show off.
I'm like, Tom, take
calm down, making the rest of us look bad.
Exactly. Hey, Boy Scout, settle down. But he's Tom Whalen is a professional, man, and I think the great thing about his work is you could use him anywhere. In fact, anybody, he's everywhere. You don't even know it. Sometimes I'm like, I go to Target and I'm like, what are these kick-ass fucking figure packages? Oh my god, Tom Whalen designed these. You're never gonna see my work on a package at Target. They're gonna avert the kids' eyes.
Hey, never say never.
Yeah,
never say never. No, the reason I asked is because Tom helped us out last week we did a little thing where we had two monsters battling out, and we had these experts pick one, and he was like, oh, I'm not comfortable with the camera, and he just cracks everybody up, makes these jokes, and he just shows these sketches that he did probably 2 minutes before, and they're perfect.
Perfect.
I bring it up because that's what I love about Mondo is, these awesome kaiju artists, very different, very cool, and that's why I'm glad somebody like you landed at Mondo, where they could utilize all of your talents and your unique approach to not only art but kaiju as kind of a channel, not only in your prints but also with the statue and everything. Dude. And so we're lucky that you got lucky and landed with them, because we get to benefit from it.
Yeah,
we get this cool stuff.
Yeah, they are the great thing about them is they're fans first too, man. It's there's no what's the word I'm looking for here? There's no BS with them. I'm looking for a better word. Ask Tom Whalen; he has a better vocabulary. But there's no pretense to them. They are what they are, and they're fans first, and they are always looking for that new kick-ass thing that would excite you, because they feel like if it excites them, it'll probably excite you, because they think of themselves as what they are, a bunch of cool people who have good taste. Yeah. And the fun thing with Tom and I is, like you said, we are almost exact opposites in every aspect of our approach, but we get along, fantastically. And sometimes we send each other stuff that we're working on. Like, hey, what are you working on for the next? Because they like to pair us together when they release prints. Yeah. And I go, Tom, what are you working on for the next thing? And he's like, oh, just some scribble scrabble, fucking perfect, Biolante. And he's like, oh, what are you working on? And I'm literally like a post-it note that's all crumbled. But the funny thing is, I think he gets a kick out of my stuff too because of that. I love his stuff because it's something my brain doesn't work that way, and I think vice versa. And yes, I think the dream for me would be to have a Godzilla art show where it's Tom on one side of the room and me on the other side of the room. Yeah, or dude. One day I would love to design a layout for him and have him design one for me. And
that'd be cool.
There's a lot of good yin yang vibes with him and I. So love that guy.
Attack Peter versus Tom Whalen. I mean, I can see right now the exhibit. Yes, I'll be there.
We can make that happen.
Oh,
And
no,
there's something about your artwork translated so well to that statue. Like it's so incredibly. I know Jay's got it right beside him. But
yeah,
I don't have the base. The base is down here, but yeah.
I don't use the base either. I don't use the base.
Look at that,
dude. It just
Oh my
it translated to that figure beautifully.
Well, you know, that's a testament. A couple of things here, because I'll tell you straight up. The first Attack Peter 3D that was ever supposed to come out was a Batman from DC Direct right before the pandemic. And they they bought one of my designs, and it's all sculpted. They made the prototype. You can see it online. They had it at Toy Fair 2020. It's like a month before the world shut down.
Well,
and
I was at that. We were there.
Yeah. So it
was there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was at the DC booth. And it's cool. Like Pixel Dan did a video on it, like showed it off. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But so they were the first ones to go, yeah, we can make something 3D like this. Because a bunch of people were like, it's not going to work in 3D. And I'm like, yeah, fuck. You got Mignola in 3D. You can do anybody in 3D.
Right.
So they made it, you know, DC Direct, like got absorbed by McFarlane, and still holding out hope that McFarlane. I'm going to go talk to McFarlane at Comic-Con. What do you think about that? I'm just going to go, I'm like, hey, Todd, wake the fuck up. No, I'm kidding. Dude.
Show up at one of his signings. I saw he's doing a bunch of signings.
I just crack his Sharpies like, no, yeah, right. I'm like, sir, please sign this. And then can we talk? I love that guy. But yeah, so then at Skybound, we got together, and one of the first things we did was we launched a Daruma vinyl figure that was produced by Mighty Jax, Mighty Jax is no joke, dude. They are they're like it's just like a finely tuned machine over there. And it was the first time that we go, oh, this works. It doesn't have to be in black and white to look like my stuff. The texture's there, the patterning. They translated a bunch. They did a lot of heavy lifting for translating the work, right? And then while that was still being made, it was after the first 3 Godzilla prints sold out from Mondo. I went and did an Instagram live and like thanked people. I wasn't expecting it. It was insane. And then some of the Mondo guys joined the Instagram live. Again, never be afraid to ask. Yeah. And I said to them, I go, hey guys, there they are. Tell them you want to see a figure. And everyone's like, we want to see a figure. And I got scolded at Skybound for doing that, just so you know, because it was like, class it up. Don't be like a fucking riff off online.
But it worked.
But the funny thing is, because the funny thing is, they didn't think that I necessarily wanted to do a figure. Like, there's always perception issues, you know? Like, could we afford to get them and all this shit? And I'm like, dude, let's fucking go, you know?
Yeah.
And so Hector, Mike at Mondo, the toy department, the sculptor Tufan Caesar, and Hillary, Hector's wife, Hillary Arce, painted it up. They translated it perfectly to now. Yeah. Everybody wants to do something, and it's like now there's just a matter of time, and like you don't want to saturate the market. You want to do something kick-ass. But I'll tell you this: we've said it already. They have already completed the prototype for the Takaro figure, and that's going to be on display at Comic-Con. It's going to fuck you up, dude.
Yeah,
it is.
Dude.
Dude, it is articulated. It looks like it goes right next to Godzilla, and it's like a perfect piece, except he's taller and chunkier. He's a big barrel-chested guy, and they killed it, dude.
That's
killed it.
I didn't think it would, honestly. I remember the Mighty Jax Daruma is so cool, and I didn't think your art could translate better than that. I thought that was like, okay, you just knocked it out of the park on the first try, right? And then this guy came out, and then it's like, so I'm really excited for all the new 3D Attack Peter stuff that's coming out, almost more than your prints, if I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah, well, honestly, like I've always wanted to be in the toy industry to some degree. Like I feel like I backed my way into it because I don't have the ZBrush skills, and I don't want to I'm like I said, I want to just throw out an idea,
right? And
so I when I designed Takaro originally, it was on a plane trip to DesignerCon 2019. I designed him in the plane along with a couple of other characters, and I was pitching a big toy company that ended up not being interested in a line of sci-fi kaiju alien monster figures. And they were like, and I had worked with them already, super nice people, but they're like, I don't think anybody's gonna give a shit about this. So maybe another time. And they couldn't have been nicer about it, but I was like, fuck, and I really like this one guy. And so I showed the picture to James Groman before I got on, before I decided to show Sideshow. I got my times crossed. On the way back from another show, I designed him. On the way there, I had already designed Takaro as a linoleum block print to take to DesignerCon because I showed the digital sketch, which was a polished sketch for a change, to James Groman. You guys know James Groman, the fucking Godfather. Sure. Yeah, the man. And and I said him, hey, what do you think about this? You know, your shit. And he's like, it's a cool design, but why, if you're known for this style, are you like trying to do something for them instead of doing what works for you and let them figure out how to produce it? I'm like, fuck. That's why you're the man.
That's
dude.
why
Like,
you touched every major toy line ever.
Yeah, you know, and he's like just a real, like, he knows, like he knows even more than you think he knows because he's such a super gentle, jolly guy, but he's like super smart and shrewd about it. And so so I made a Takaro print that was the same size as the Godzilla prints that would always sell out, the Gamera and the King Kong, and I lined all 4 of them up together at my booth. So people, because there's people who don't know who Gamera is, let's be honest.
Right.
So like people who walk up and go, oh, I like this and that. And so people love Takaro as much as the rest of them. It's sold out in the first day of that print. And I took the one that I kept for this company. I go, hey, look at this. And they're like, really cool. Not for us, but good luck with that. And I'm like, But then Skybound showed up and they're like, we want that. And we want to do stuff with it. And so it just took a couple of years to get like everything figured out and launch at the right time and build up a fan base, because now there's people who have Takaro tattoos, which is fucking crazy.
That's insane.
There's not even like a story available to the public yet. Like all we know about Takaro is what I've created with people on YouTube live. Like I design stuff live with our friends on YouTube on the chat. Like we have a whole print that we from scratch designed the bad guy that he fought. Then the next week we got together, we designed the layout, and the next week I revealed the print based on their suggestions. And so like that's as much of Takaro's story as out there. The fact that I came up with them and we had a lot of fun working on him during the pandemic early on. Now we're going to launch the official story and book. So I think the time is right for it. And when I tell you what I'll tell you off camera, it'll be an exciting thing. It's not Takaro movie coming out this summer. Everybody calm down. But it's a really cool thing. It's a really cool thing.
Very cool. Well, I mean, that's the best time to jump into this Kickstarter, man. So
yeah, I'm excited.
Tell us what you haven't told us about it.
Well, so I'll tell you this. So I'm going to Comic-Con next week, and we're launching.
See you there.
Yeah,
Jake will be there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll be mostly at the Mondo. I'm not gonna have my own booth. It's just floating around. That way I don't have to do it. I don't have to set up anything. I don't have to tear down anything. Just show up,
the way to do it.
Make a mess, and walk away. And but I'll be at the Mondo booth primarily, and then I'll do a signing at Eric Powell's booth, the Goon booth, I guess, on Saturday. But there's also a panel we're doing, the Toho panel on Thursday, which is crazy.
Yep.
I got invited to a panel at Comic-Con.
Gonna try to hit that. I've never been to a Comic-Con, so I don't know how hard it is to be getting into
that one. You'll be fine getting into. It's not Hall H.
Yeah.
It's not
right.
Hall H. But
I wasn't sure, but I'll be there if I can.
Congratulations if you've never been to Comic-Con. You're about to have a fucking blast, dude. Just walking into that hall is worth the price alone. Just walking in.
Dude, well, we got press passes in 2020. So, and then it got canceled 2 years in a row.
You have press passes now?
Yeah, we're pressed. Yeah.
Dude, you're golden. You get to walk in before the crowd walks in and just see the floor like empty for like a minute. It's amazing.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So anyway, so we have this thing that we're launching at Comic-Con, and because of that, we were gonna do the Kickstarter this month. Actually launch it the same week as Comic-Con, which ended up being too fucking much. And so we're pushing it to August, but the Kickstarter is going to be for the book, Takaro's, origin book. And it's going to cover, who he is, where he's from, like what the significance of his species is, what's going on his home planet that's called Baron Kai. It's named Baron Kai. And it's awesome because it started off as like a field guide of the planet because it was kind of like narratively not a lot of pressure to do a field guide of an alien planet. It was just fun, make some cool stuff. And I'm a big fan of those like field guide books that like Wayne Barlow has put out. And you know what I'm talking about. and like the Brian Froud fairy stuff. And so I wanted to do something like that. That'd be super fun. But little by little, as we were doing, I'm like, I think there's a little story here that we can at least set up in a really cool way and give some people something to chew on in this book. And so we wrote it. It's awesome. I'm super stoked on it, and it's way better than I thought it was going to possible being. I'm writing it with my lifelong best friend Jared Rosello, who's a comics artist and writer himself. He did a couple of books for IDW called Red Panda and Moon Bear, super successful stuff. And so we're super excited about it. And alongside that, the other part of the Kickstarter is the Takaro figure. And boy, oh boy, do they hit it out of the park, dude. I can't believe it.
I can't wait to see that thing, man.
Yeah.
It's just, I'll tell you this. It looks like, in the same way that Godzilla figure looks like it came off the 2D like print, like it almost doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Double for this, because this is like, because Takaro's only ever existed in my prints. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's different. Like, you see Godzilla all the time. It's like, that's a version of Godzilla off the page. Yes. This is the only Takaro. So it's like, and it was designed to sit amongst your Marusan and your Marmots and your vinyl boys. And I think he holds his own, and he's got a great silhouette, and
that's awesome.
Super stoked. Yeah, man.
That's
very I was just gonna say, so we have a lot of like exciting tiers planned for it. We're gonna have the book, we're gonna have the figure. I think I don't want to speak out of turn yet, but for the first time, we might have some like opportunities for people to get carvings like that I've made in the past. Like,
cool.
People hit me up all the time, like, how can I buy one of the carvings? They're like, oh, we don't sell them. But for the first time, we might be able to allow some people to do that. So a lot of fun in that regard. Yeah.
That sounds awesome, dude.
I'm excited to see, a figure, you're talking about like, people already love it. Like you said, they get tattoos. Jake, I don't know if you've done any tattoos like that yet.
Not yet. I hope.
You need to add that to your. I mean, you are an award-winning tattoo artist, so I mean, I think
there. I'm making a flash sheet, just so you know.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
I am. Well, so if you look up hashtag Attack Peter Tattoo, like on Instagram, a lot of people have gotten it already. I'm like, I'm just gonna design some stuff that would work perfectly.
Yeah.
And then if you want to adapt it, you can adapt it. But at least if you got this exactly, it wouldn't be a nightmare.
Right. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying was like, I think it's so cool. Like you already have a figure that's beloved in this 2D form, and then you get this awesome opportunity, not only to bring it live in 3D, but also like add some texture and depth to it from a story and narrative standpoint. That's your fans of that character are only going to love it more now that they get the official, canon of this character. And I don't know. I think it's so unique and so cool. And for your fans that got in on the, with the 2D prints, they're going to get to grow with it's coming out. I think it's a really cool situation. Like, if we were live in 1954, we just saw Godzilla, seeing it when it came out, it's like the same thing.
Yeah. It's not I never want to like put myself in the league with anything to that level, but I do like the analogy of like, I'm a fan of tons of artists and their artwork, and I follow artists very closely. Like I buy the sketchbooks, I look at this, like I like to get into the nitty gritty of it. And my, favorite thing over the years was getting to see the artwork from every angle, learning how they made it, what tools do they use, all that kind of stuff. How are they thinking about certain things? And so for me, in my mind, in the back of my mind always is, the book is awesome. The figure is awesome. I love Takaro and all this stuff, but if I had to put a pin on what the number one priority is removing the veil as much as possible to let everybody in on the ride and the process, for better or worse. Sometimes it's up, sometimes there are downs, but everybody gets to be aware of it. And I think it's encouraging for other people who want to try something that's a little bit out of left field, and know that number one, you can do it. They put block prints on comic book covers now. That's new, and number two, it's not easy, and there will be downs as much as there are ups, but everybody's going through it at the same time. So I'm happy that Takaro, the printmaking and all that, can be like the mascot of the journey of trying to accomplish something. To me, that's the most important thing. That's why we did the streams on YouTube. That's why like I talk as much as I can about everything online as I can, and if something goes wrong, we talk about it. And I think people dig that because there's enough BS already in the world, in every respect. You can always tell people are talking out of both sides of their mouth. And we're all in the same fucking journey here, man. We're trying to make something cool or enjoy something cool. And I think that authenticity helps make people a fan of the whole ride even more than just a thing.
Yeah, dude. It's such a good thing to kind of see like the toy industry or the collectible industry turn into, instead of just being this thing where it's, you know, big corporations just pumping out, you know, mass marketed toys. It's like, oh, we're doing it now. We're doing it because it's what we want. And like your friend is over here making a toy, or it's very nice to see that, because I know it's got to be daunting to get into any of this stuff, dude.
Number one, there's two sides of a coin here. Like I always like to point out like Super 7, for example. Like we're living in the age where Super 7 and like companies even like NECA who do it, you know, and they're both, by the way, in all big box stores. But there are now 4 different Toxic Avenger variants that you can get through Super 7 in just the 6-inch scale.
I literally have them all right here.
They're amazing. They're amazing. And I finally got the original one. I missed it when it first came out, and I got the little reaction ones. My point is, like, that is something that you do out of love.
Yeah.
But because that is a tough brand, dude, to market. Toxic Crusaders and Toxic Crusaders, because it barely existed. It was like a flash in the pan. And Toxic Avenger, because who's it for? Like, it's X-rated B movie superhero violence. You know what I'm saying? Like, if people take it for granted now that anything can happen, anything can exist anywhere, but like, that's like a passion, dude. That there's a guy like Brian and the team at Super 7 doing that kind of stuff. And then the other side of the coin is, anything I make goes up against the badass shit that they're putting up on the regular. And because they are prolific now and they can make in large amounts, they can do tremendous deals on their figures. Like, when you know what it costs to get these figures made, you'd get down on your knees and thank Brian Flynn for only charging $40 for that Muckman. That Muckman figure, the super. Let me tell you something. That fucking Muckman figure, everybody should go out and buy that thing just as a thank you to that guy, because it is so elaborate. It is so well made, and it's like, I don't want to hear people talking shit now. Oh, that was my favorite Ninja Turtle. Nobody, it wasn't. No. I love that guy as much as anybody else, but I remember everybody had him in the back of the toy chest. That thing is a modern marvel of toy engineering, and it's massive, and it's $40. And I guarantee you, like, if people knew what that cost to get made, you'd just write him a nice handwritten letter, Brian Flynn. And he's not alone. There's a lot of great people doing stuff like that now, you know?
Super 7's Ultimates make you want to collect lines that you've never given a fuck about ever. It's like, oh, I guess I'm buying Simpsons toys or Disney
I gotta
toys
get that Krusty. I gotta get that Krusty, and I gotta get the aliens, Kang and Kodos.
Oh yeah.
You know what's funny? I have a couple of, like, since we're talking toys now, I have like a nice a little Hot Toys Star Wars collection. And they're amazing. They're amazing. They're like the top as far as, like, it's perfect, you know?
Yeah.
But there's something like, and I have a few of them. And for a while, I'm like, look, I'm going to narrow my collection down. I can't have Hot Toys and then also grab every fucking badass Super 7 TMNT figure. Yeah, but this Muckman came up, threw me for a loop. I got it. I'm like, just going to get, and I'm like, and now I look at the Hot Toys. I'm like, it's almost like, you guys are lacking soul sometimes when I look at them. Like, they're so perfect that they're almost not. And the funny thing is, they're literally made by hand, the portraits, the sculpts, the paint.
Right.
But there's something about the fact that, you know, start to finish what's going on at a company like Super. Not to keep like giving them praise, but they're paying me nothing, by the way. They won't even put my shirt out again, by the way. They're not, they're already, they were into me in the beginning, but now they're over me already. I'm like yesterday's news. But yeah, I just look at that and I go, fuck, dude, there's like such heart and soul in this stuff. So bringing this full circle, when I'm making or co-designing the Takaro figure with Hector and Mike and Mondo, by the way, who just released that fucking perfect He-Man figure. You gotta like think about all that, and like that you're going into the arena with, like, we're in the golden age of toy collecting, like straight up, like everything. Yeah.
Well, because not only have that, you still have Marasan and Eiji Kamanaga releasing things every 2 seconds, as somebody that has 32 and Marasan 89 Biogojis right here, like I get it, and it's amazing. You're right, because now you have Hot Toys X-Plus, you have that, you still have your mass-produced stuff, kind of the in the middle ground, and then you have the Super 7s, the NECAs, and then you have even below that the super indie designer toys and such. The smaller artists out there that are doing excellent stuff. And speaking of, Mondo, love that they picked up Rocom toys for their Jaguar.
Dude,
stuff. So good. I mean, Jake and I are big Death Jaguar fans. Cool. And like, it is the golden age, because
it really is. They're gonna bury us in this stuff, you guys. We're gonna like, we're all gonna be. I mean, do you ever think about that? Like, let's say like how I'm like 39. I assume you guys are right around there.
Like, 40. I got a year on you, man.
So like, think about it. Like, we got, like, if we're lucky, we got another 50 good years. But what are we gonna do with all of this stuff? Are you gonna like give it to your kids? Like, what are we doing? They're gonna bury us in all this.
Oh yeah. I'll just sell it on CokeJoyCon.com.
I want to. Oh yeah, exactly. Nice. I want to be cremated with all of it.
Just with
one big ash pile.
It's like 50 pounds of ashes.
Oh yeah. Are you going to design your own coffin if we're going to get that dark? I mean,
100%. And if the market will support it, I will design it. Yes, on my Kiss.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it,
dude. All right, so so the Kickstarter you said is going to start next month. Do we have a date?
We're going to do it in
August.
We haven't solidified the date because we're. The way it works is like there's so many little pieces. Like, we're like designing the cover for the book right now, and like we have one of the greatest editors like in the biz. Like, this is how nerdy I am and how lucky I am that I get to be at Skybound. Like, I was reading Invincible when I used to work at a comic book store, and it made me cancel all my superhero subscriptions. I'm like, there's no point. Like, I don't need any more Marvel, any more DC. This is a perfect superhero book. That's like 20 years ago. And I remember always seeing Sean Makowitz's name in the image books and the Invincible, and now he's like my coworker. And so he's on a break right now, and when he comes back, he's gonna like sign off on the covers, and then there's like solidifying the tiers and just making sure everything's perfect. And so I think with all the Comic-Con craziness, we're shooting for end of August right now.
And what's the best way for like somebody to just make sure we don't miss it and like follow you on Instagram?
There's a link. I'll send you a link, but it's a Kickstarter link that you can like just put your email in. No, literally nothing will be sent out until it's a Kickstarter heads up. Gotcha. And then I'll be super annoying on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter at Attack Peter there, and that turn post notifications on. But I'm gonna be spamming, I think, the social media for about 3 weeks. You're gonna have to mute me. You're gonna have to mute me.
Well, hey, we'll be there spamming them with you. I know I got to see a little sneak peek back when I was on a show with you a couple months back, and
awesome.
I'm pumped, man. I'll be backer number maybe 3.
Awesome. I'll take it.
I'll let you and your wife can back it first.
Oh yeah.
Number 3.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. I'm stoked, dude. It's literally like the thing that I would sit. My first con in like 2012, I said, like, it'd be cool to fucking put out a print one day or like make my own thing one day. And it's like little by little, like, man, I mean, would it be cool if you could do this, then this, then this? Like, this is literally like it's any one of us just got like a series of fortunate circumstances. But if it goes over well, if the Kickstarter goes over well, this is how this shit works. Then we can turn around and go, hey, this thing got backed really fast on Kickstarter. Certain so-and-so company who makes this incredible multimedia thing. Do you want a piece of this? And because of the grassroots, Skybound was interested. And if the Kickstarter kicks ass with everybody supporting it at a grassroots level, the next tier will be interested. And then, dude, I promise I will throw a fucking awesome party if we get to that point. Everybody's going to be invited.
I feel like I got a pretty good feeling about it, just because, I mean, like everything we've seen from you, you've blown up in the last few years. And I feel like we see you all over the place, and I like it. And it's really, dude, having you on here and listening to you talk about it makes me excited about it. Like, you're clearly very passionate about, this and the Kickstarter and the prints and just everything and just the kaiju community. And Dude,
yeah.
we appreciate it. We're glad you're here, and we're gonna be pushing this thing with you, man.
Oh
and,
man,
and we support our own in the kaiju community.
I know.
For
I
sure.
know that. Yeah,
For
and
sure.
and you know what's funny is like that is part of the plan the whole way. Like when I was doing the Godzilla prints, immediately I'm like, I gotta get in these Facebook groups and like see what everybody thinks, because I don't want to be some Johnny come lately and like, you know, I do this in spite of everybody, despite everybody else's thoughts. Like I wanted to put Godzilla Tower in a print early. I wanted to do the tail slide on an official print early, you know. So I wanted to do like those things, those nods, you know, and like go online and talk with David and Leslie and Kyle and Christine and John, and do AJ's show. And like, I'm a fan, like just, you know, just want to do and hang. And that's what the whole thing is. Like, if this works out, I swear the whole point of this is so we can have a better party one day. That's it.
Amazing. That is
I love
amazing.
it, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, well,
Thanks,
we appreciate you coming on, man. Looking forward to seeing everything, and looking forward to meeting you next week.
Yes, I will be offended if we don't figure that out.
Yes, I guarantee at one point I'll be getting a text message with you guys in it. Be like, we're here, you're not.
Absolutely. He's just gonna use that excuse to skip into Funko pop line.
Well, dude, real quick before we take off, how for anybody who maybe isn't already following you, if you want to, you give out your Instagram name, all that good stuff. Yeah,
Instagram and Twitter is @AttackPeter. I'm most active on Instagram, but I'll check everything. Facebook, it's Attack Peter Art, and we have an awesome Facebook group that just passed 1,000 members, which is crazy. Attack Peter Print Crew, and it's the best place. Like, if you missed a print, or if you want to get something or trade a print or sell something, everybody there is really cool. Nobody's like trying to hustle anybody, and it's better than going to go there.
It's the true fans.
Yeah. And they're super cool. Like everybody knows, like starting to know each other. Like last time we were at Designer Con, we had a meetup. Like I think 12 people flew out from different parts of the country.
That's awesome.
It was crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, we hung out. So it's a great place. Attack Peter, and just hit me up. Any questions? I'm always active online for sure.
So
awesome. Yeah, well, dude, thanks for being here, and
thank you.
We'll talk to you soon, man.
Absolutely.
Whoa, that was a good through the magic of editing, we're back. That was an awesome interview. Thank you so much to Dr. Reverend Mr. Attack Peter.
So cool. So I mean, talk about like some really cool stuff. I'm excited for the Kickstarter. And it's not me like just being friendly with the guests. Like I absolutely will back that. It's such a cool the Toguro design is so cool. And so I don't know, I'm pumped.
Yeah, me too, man. Everything that guy's been doing has just been top notch, and I'm excited to see more and more of it. So yeah,
and I think he's a great inspiration for other creators out there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's always good to have somebody to to say that they did it. They started from a similar place that I'm starting in my whatever your
right. You never know. Don't be afraid to ask. Yeah, people need to hear that kind of stuff. It's
cool,
dude.
Very cool.
I'm happy for him. Well, dude, we'll move on into what we normally do here. I guess we'll do our.
What do we
I
do?
don't think any of us have seen anything new. I don't know if you watched anything new in the last couple weeks.
You know, I have. So I've been talking about. I've been kind of going through the Ultra series. I finished Ultra 7. I think I might do another top 10 episodes, but do Ultra 7 like I did with Ultraman. I might do
That's a good idea.
But I started Return of Ultraman, which I don't know. I was thinking about it because I was watching a couple of the first episodes, and they were like totally like new to me.
Okay.
I don't know if I've watched all the episodes of Return of Ultraman or just some. And I looked at there's like 51 or 59 episodes or something in the series. And I'm like, I definitely have not seen 50 plus Return of Ultraman. And so that's kind of been fun and watching that. They're just all three of those series are very different. So it's been kind of cool going back and watching some of those early Ultras.
Very cool. I'm always a little ashamed of my Ultraman blind spot. I have only,
me too.
I've seen the original series. I've seen Ultra Q, but other than that, I've basically seen nothing. Yeah. And I've been picking them up. They've been being released, and I've been picking them up. But I've been a bad kaiju host, and I have not been watching them all as much as I know I should. I buy some Ultraman toys if I see them somewhere, but I do feel bad sometimes that I'm a little ashamed. But
I actually,
but it was but Ultraman Day was Was it yesterday or the day before? Maybe it was this week.
Yeah, whatever.
So
I don't know when we're recording this, but yes, it was recently.
This week. Yeah, so I'm excited
But
about that.
I think the funny thing is, Jake, I think you actually would really like Ultra 7. And definitely like the good episodes of Ultra 7.
Yeah.
Because it's more of it has more of a kind of a almost a horror vibe, a more like there's a lot more decapitations and like more it's a little less silly in some places than Ultra. There are still the episodes that are very, 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 very silly and whatever, but it's they do some different things, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. I like Ultra 7 a lot. I actually think you would dig that one maybe even more than the original Ultraman.
Wow.
Just knowing kind of what other things that you like.
Sure.
But I also feel it has, I think, 48 or 49 episodes, like 10 more than the original Ultraman. So I think there's a little bit more fluff on it. But the good episodes, I think, are really
you got to get through some of the weird stuff to get to.
And some of them are really good. And it's cool because it's like not everything is just him fighting a giant monster. You know, like they do fight some other. Sometimes you don't even see the alien. Like it's some interesting stuff. And it's cool.
Did you see? I know we're not doing a whole bunch of news today, but did you see that photo that came out of the? There's a Netflix Ultraman film coming out, animated.
Yes,
and they released like one still of it, and it is very, very stylized. I'm not sure if it's 2D animation or if it's 3D, but if it's 3D, it looks like 2D animation.
Okay.
Looks really cool. I'm excited about it.
Hey, good for the Ultraman IP, man. They're doing lots of cool stuff.
Yeah. And I still haven't watched season 2 of the Ultraman Netflix show, but we'll see. I watched nothing new, but I did rewatch 20 Million Miles to Earth. Have you ever seen that?
I have. Yes,
Old Harryhausen.
Yes.
I've always really loved that movie, and I've been on a Harryhausen kick lately, and I'll get to why in a few. But I rewatched it. And that movie's so good, man. I've always loved that movie. I used to watch it. Like my grandfather got me into watching, the old Harryhausen movies. We used to watch that shit back like on TNT and stuff like that. And that movie's so good. And I love when I was rewatching it. It's been a while since I've seen it, and I'm like, I just really love that the creature is. They make a point multiple times to say like, well, the creature only defends itself. It's not really gonna do anything unless you they go out of their way to show it eating like corn or grain or something. It never doesn't eat the dog, it doesn't eat people. And I like that. I really like that about that movie. It's a good movie. I think some of those old Harryhausen movies could be remade today. I think they were I don't think they would come out with something and it would be maybe I don't know what they would do as far as redesigning, but those movies are so old at this point. All of them. The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. They could remake Clash of the Titans again. Valley of Gwangi would be great.
Let's hope they do better than the last remake of Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, that's why I said they can remake it again, because the last one was not good.
Jason and the Argonauts would be great.
Yeah, dude, Sinbad, all of those movies. I'd love.
Just my favorite of the three.
I'd love to see. I actually picked up when we were when we went to Martha's Vineyard on our way back, we stopped at this place called the Archive in Connecticut, and it's like a media store, VHS, DVD, and stuff. And I bought a Blu-ray set it's a Harryhausen set, and it has 20 Million Miles to Earth. It has It Came from Beneath the Sea, and then it has one of the Sinbad movies that I have not seen. So. Yeah, I picked that set up. It's got commentaries on it, colorized versions, black and white versions. So, yeah.
I feel there's that pocket of Harryhausen, like none of the movies are bad. Like, I mean, like the one, like if you think of the Sinbad's, Jason, like his big Greek mythology set there with Clash and Jason and the Argonauts, and then you throw in kind of the Valley of Gwangi, 20 Million Miles, It Came from Beneath the Sea, like all that stuff. Like they're all amazing. Like it just nails them all. Like
I mean,
it's amazing.
The stories on them are all really good and unique, but even if you take that out of it, there's just some real charm to watching those effects, the stop motion effects. In 20 Million Miles, it has that scene where he fights an elephant. Yeah, and Ymir fights an elephant, and it's just such a it's so cool. It's awesome to watch the way they did all of that. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, let's talk about some toys. Just some pickups. I don't have much. I don't know if you'd like to start this week, or let's see what you got, man.
Well, yeah, and I would definitely want to end on your. I almost said pre-order. I guess not order, but one of the orders that you made.
Sure,
ties it all back in. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I got 2 pickups, but they're big.
Okay.
One in size, the other one in oomph. For lack of a better term. But and the other one, I guess I got 3 because one we both got, but I'll let you show it off.
Yeah, because that's the only one I got is the one we both got.
Yeah, which is awesome. So I'll do the one that is from a different line than that one, and that is so. When we did our top 10 wish list, I didn't put this on there because I already have one variant of it, and to be honest with you, I just didn't think I was going to come across another one.
This is such a flex, dude. You're flexing so hard right
now.
I know.
I
already got one.
So I have a yellow variant, and I love it. It is. I honestly think it is. If I had to pick one thing to take, if you told me I had to get rid of every single sofubi item I have, it'd be the one I think I would keep. And so I got a second version. Now, I still like my original one better. But I did get another Marmot Godzilla tower. I got the red one. And so it's funny on these guys, and because I got it before we started doing the show, I believe, or maybe I can't remember if I showed it off on the show or not. But these things were crazy because they were the only way you could get there's 4 variants. And the only way that you could get them was you had to cut out like the header cards from other Marmot figures and like mail them off and get them. Right. They did eventually re-release them as lucky bags. Still not easy to get, right?
Yeah.
So like they've been kind of both waves of them have been exclusive. So so the red and gold, the red and silver spines, and the yellow were all lucky bags. The second wave they did both, and then I think the green one was the blue greenish one. I think was only through the header card mail away. So anyway, I got the red one with the gold spikes, with the green tower, or not the tower, I guess, but the green staircases, escalators, elevators, all that good stuff. The infrastructure. So cool. This is a beautiful piece. This is actually in really damn good condition. There's not even a bit of paint wear or anything on it.
Yeah, it's all there.
It really it doesn't look like, was it 2003? 2003, yes. It does not look like it's 19 years old. It's very, very cool. And so excited to put him next to the yellow one. Now, will I get the other 2? I hope I have the opportunity to, but it's not a, you
don't see him that often.
You don't. It's the first one I've seen that I've personally seen since I bought my yellow one. Now, I did get another yellow one that I put on Tokyo Toy Town, and it was sold and accounted for within 2 seconds. So
sure,
I did find that one, but not the other 2 variants. So that was the first thing I got. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love it. We all love Godzilla Tower. The other thing I got from X-Plus. Now this thing came out, I think. Well, actually, first was it our second episode or third episode that we just kind of didn't have a topic, and we talked about Godzilla rides, and we talked about the Godzilla ride,
right?
And then, of course, they released the Bandai figures, and then they released the X-Plus, and they had a standard, and they had a Godzilla store exclusive. Now, I typically don't go for X-Plus. I don't care as much about like the Rick exclusives, the light ups, the different variants. And for most cases, just because I never light them, I never turn them on. I turn the lights on and stuff like that. But I've seen the Rick one or the Godzilla store, excuse me, and it's pretty cool. I'm a little envious because I got the standard one, but he's still pretty awesome. And so here he is, Godzilla the Ride, 30 centimeter X-Plus. Look at this guy. I mean, he needs a movie. He just needs a movie
so hard.
He looks really good in person, even more so than I think the ride depicts him as. Like this figure, like this is the Godzilla I want. He's like a little bit of Toho Godzilla, a little bit of like legendary Godzilla. Like he's a little
sturdy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's very good. The texturing and the skin stuff is really excellent. So the sculpt is awesome, but it's X-Plus. We know that it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I really do dig this one. I'm so glad I got it. And I won't be too jealous of those that got the other version, but this one is pretty damn cool. Not a lot of color on him, but that's okay.
No, he's pretty flat, but I mean, that's a good looking toy.
Yeah, I mean, he's it's a ferocious beast, man. So I love it. So I was glad. So only 2 pickups, but I think I made them count.
Jay, you always do. Good stuff, man. The only thing I got here, like you said, we both have it. Dude, so when yours came in before I did, and the funniest thing was you showed it to me, and I had 100% could not remember if I even bought this thing. I was like, Jay, did I buy that? And you were like, I think you did. And I ran to Awesome Collector looking at my orders, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I got it. And then you were like, no, we didn't get it from Awesome Collector. We got it from the Rick site. So I went and looked, and I'm like, it's shipped. I got it. And that is the X-Plus Godzilla versus Gigan set, the 50th anniversary set. These are beautiful. I love, dude. So I think especially Gigan. There's something because Gigan has a little more color to him, and he has so much more just going on. There's much more places for shadow and it's Gigan. And it's Gigan. This is one of my favorite toys I own right now. It looks perfect. This is perfect. Godzilla's not so bad either. He's great. No. He's pretty. It just looks like Godzilla. Like I said, he was a big gray blob, and that's what I got here. I love that it's got he's bleeding. This is an amazing set. I wish it was in scale with my Megalon, but I understand. I love this. It was the only thing. It's the only thing I got in the mail, but I was talking to Craig from Yes, Have Some Toy Anxiety. And he was telling me how he ordered a couple Hot Toys. And he was like, yeah, well, I put them on a firm, which is, it's a firm is like a third party dealer that Sideshow will work with for payment plans. And this is what got me, is that he told me, so there's anytime you do a payment plan on a site or something, or Klarna or whatever, they're usually, they don't ship that toy until it's paid off. So if you put something on a payment plan, it's on a payment plan for 6 months, you don't get a toy for 6 months. Well, Craig was like, no, dude, with a firm, it's a credit card basically. So they pay for it right up front and they ship it. So I was like, I'm buying a toy tonight. And I got on Sideshow, and just like we were just talking about Harryhausen, man, Harryhausen's been in my mind lately. And I was really bummed out because, I was trying to not buy too many toys because I had a lot of trips in a row. And I was like, you know what?
And you're not done yet.
And I'm not done, but I'm to the point where I was like, I'm going to buy a toy. I'm going to buy a nice toy. And I've been eyeing that Gwangi figure. X-Plus put out the Valley of Gwangi, and I hadn't bought it because, I'm just like, I got too much stuff coming up. So I'm online. I go to Awesome Collector to buy it, and what do you know? Sold out. I've been staring at it for I feel like months, and it sold out. So then I went to Sideshow. Sold out over there as well, but they had it where you can get on a wait list for it, which I've never done that with a toy before. But I did. I was like, let me join this wait list. Hopefully somebody doesn't want it, and I'll get one. But I was like, I gotta buy a toy now. Craig told me about this payment plan. I'm like hard into this Harryhausen stuff, so I'm looking at the Ymir figure. I'm looking at the Rhedosaurus. I was like, God, I really want these two. But then I see the Kraken. Sideshow has the Kraken in stock. It's a huge toy, and I'm like, you know what? It's very expensive, but it's in stock right now. This might not be in stock forever. It's a big toy. So I fucking bought it, dude. I bought it, put it on a firm. It will reach me before I even make one payment on it. So awesome. It's shipped. I think it's going to be here either tomorrow or Friday. It should make it to me. And I'm just excited to see it, but I'm also like, it's going to fuck me up, Jay. Yeah. I'm going to see it. It's going to be so amazing that I'm probably immediately going to go buy two more. I honestly, I've talked about it on the show. Like this is the gate that I've been able to keep closed so the flood doesn't come in and destroy me, because
I think you're right, because you can't just have one Harryhausen. And did you get the deluxe, the one with Andromeda and stuff?
Of course I did.
Okay.
It's like a $50 difference. I was like, well, I can't. Well, because it not only does it have Andromeda, but it has like a base of some water to kind of go around the bottom of the Kraken. And I was like, well, you have to get that.
You have to have that. Yeah. I'm just worried. I'm worried that I honestly like when you told me that you got it, I was like, shit, I got it. I'm like, this is gonna be like, you're like just enabling here. And luckily, the only thing that stopped me from getting it was I've been redoing the room up here and reconfiguring, and just to maximize, so I can fit like a handful more like sofubi items in here, not the size of the Kraken. And I'm having trouble doing that with like the most efficient. Even got rid of a couple things like big like vintage movie posters and stuff that I went ahead and moved into a closet. Like I don't have room for it, so that's the one thing I think that's saving me. But like I really want that. Yeah, dude, I know you don't either. But
I don't either. Hey, all right, dude. They just announced the Medusa.
Yeah, 30 centimeters.
It's amazing. I think I can honestly see myself getting that Medusa next. Yeah. But I still my heart lies in the Valley of Guanji, so I do hope that one pops up. If not, we're gonna be having a late night with Toku Toy Town looking for it on a site once they come out.
Oh, am I gonna have to do a Harryhausen store next? Oh my gosh.
There's too many, man. There's a lot.
Yeah, I think just my gut. Just like we were talking about our gut, that like we know the Attack Peter Kickstarter is gonna fund, like no problem. Sure. I do think the Medusa, because it's been talked about so much, and there's people are so like, I don't know, just giddy over it. Yeah, I do think you got to jump on that one when it goes live, because
probably it's going to be a quicker. Well, because you got to think like stuff like Ymir in Valley of Guanji, and those movies are popular, but they're here compared to Clash of the Titans being up here. And there's something about the Medusa specifically that people probably gravitate to who aren't going to buy any other Harryhausen stuff. Yeah, they might just get that Medusa. And I don't know what the price point is on her. I don't know if they say, but I would assume it's going to be closer to like the most of the Harryhausen Star Ace X-Plus figures are all like 250 to 270. What do we got?
Medusa is going to be for the standard. Yeah. It's $298.99. Okay. And for the deluxe, it's an extra $90. It's $388. Wow. So that's the deluxe
holy shit.
Yeah, so the deluxe comes with a polyresin diorama base with the flaming brazier and the remains of one of her enemies. So it's a big she turns into stuff.
Big base.
It's a big one with a lot of detail. Like if you look at I look at it here, it's like it's an $80 difference. It is. I do.
I was gonna say that's a big difference for the. Yeah. Usually it's like a $30 to $50 difference for the. That's crazy, because if you get the deluxe Kraken was like $450.
Yeah, and it's
450.
Is that 2 feet?
It's 2 feet long, but I mean like $450. The deluxe, the deluxe Medusa is like almost $4. Or how much is it?
Sorry. Yeah, $400. Yep,
$400. So I mean, that's not a big.
No, $388.99.
That's another 3-month firm payment.
Release date is supposed to be in Q4 of this year. I'm looking at some of these the photos they did for it, the Photoshop, the photo shoot they did. It's pretty awesome. I mean, the texturing on the oh my gosh, it's amazing. Yeah, it's a great figure.
We're both buying that thing.
I know. I don't know if I've held off on the Kraken. I think I'm good, and I held off on the Cyclops from Seventh Voyage. I think I'm good, but I'm just if for some reason some of my collection, I just decided that, you know what, I'm going to give up all of my NECA Ninja Turtles. I'm going to give up all my Dino Riders, something like that, and I had room. I think if I filled it with another collection, it wouldn't be more Godzilla, more stuff. It would be, I would go down the Harryhausen rabbit hole.
Well, I really wanted to, something that I put in my brain in this last year is that I I've been into a couple toy shows and I see that old Kraken figure.
The old series. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember who put that out. But there was a Clash of the Titans toy line, and it's a very, very small toy line. It's like 4 figures and a Kraken and I think a Pegasus.
Yeah.
And I'd been looking at them online, and I'm like, you know what? They're a little hard to come by, but they're not super expensive. I was like, maybe I'm going to put this toy line together. But then the Kraken itself is like a $1,200 to $1,400 figure, just the Kraken. So I was like, whoa, I'm never going to buy that. So what's the next best thing? Is Mattel. Okay, I knew it was one of the main. But, the next best thing is X-Plus. They're better, so.
Oh, yeah, that Mattel one is so goofy looking. It's amazing. Like, don't get me wrong.
It's amazing. I can't believe how expensive it is, though. Yeah. There was one, somebody had one at that toy show we went to back in March, and I asked him, I was like, hey, man, how much you got on that Kraken? I saw it was sitting there all weekend long, up on a top shelf, looked in pretty good condition. And that was before I did any research, so I didn't know what it was worth. And he was like, "Well, just because I don't really want to get rid of it, it's $1,500." And I was like, "Is that close to what these go for? Because that's a lot." I thought he was going to be like $300, in which case I might have bought it, But
well, I mean, dude. you did get your Cloverfield, so I mean,
nah, dude, $1,500 for a toy, nah. That's a lot. It would have to be something insane. I'll stick with X-Plus. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, dude. That's all I got for pickups. Let's talk. We're not going to get super into the news, but we are both going. I'm going to Comic-Con next week. Mm-hmm. You're going to G-Fest tomorrow.
Yeah, by the time this launches, I will be in Chicago. And I guess more specifically, probably Rosemont. Depends when it drops, because I have Chicago on Thursday. But anyway, yes, hopefully meeting and talking to a lot of friends and folks that I've never met before.
For sure. I know I'm a little sad that I couldn't be there with you. I know we talked about it earlier in the year about trying to make it happen, but Comic-Con happened out of nowhere, so I got to go.
That's fair.
But I am going to go to the Toho, the panel that they're doing, the Toho panel. I'm going to try to make it to that. And also, like, Super 7's releasing, some Godzilla stuff. They're doing some glow versions of the reactions, which I didn't pick up those reactions, but I'll get the Comic-Con exclusive glowies. Yeah. They look cool. I like the way they look, and I'll pick those up. They also announced there's a pre-order starting at Comic-Con for the new 2 Ultimate Godzillas. Don't know if I'll pick those up or not. Maybe. I still haven't pre-ordered the last 2 Ultimates just because nothing against the toys themselves, but I literally have 6 Super 7 Ultimates on pre-order, and I don't like that. So I want to wait.
No, but I brought with you. The glowies are cool. I did not pick
and you
up
can just
the
pick them up.
I didn't pick up the reactions either, and I didn't pick up the Ultimates. I did the Mecha Godzilla 93 and the Burning G.
Right. But
I'm not going to pick up these. They're milking the Shogun Godzilla pretty hard right here. It's like the 6th variant they've released in some scale. Like, I'm like, okay, don't get me wrong. It's cool. It's awesome. It's neat. But like, if they would have stopped after the first reaction, I think it would have been fine. I
just think, part of me is like, oh, you know what? It would be cool to have 3 different sizes of Shogun and take a picture, but I'm not buying the original. Yeah. I got the original right here, and and then I have the first reaction right here. I don't think I need to buy not because I don't like them, but more because I don't have this space to buy a bunch of the same. We've talked about this before. I just don't have the space for it, so I don't think I'll pick those reactions up either. But I wanted to ask you if there was anything you're hoping to find at G-Fest. I know you run the great Tokyo Toy Town, and it's easier for you to pick up stuff. But I wonder if there's any things that you're keeping your eyes out for, or just anything you're looking forward to at G-Fest.
Yeah, I mean both. There are things I'm looking for, and there's obviously a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to. As far as what I'm looking for, I think if you would have asked me 2 years ago, like when I think I got my first when I first registered before the 2020, before the pandemic started and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And I would have gone in there almost like with the bulk approach, like anything I like, buy. I think now I'm very, well, I could. It's going to depend a lot on the vendors having what I need, right? So I think if you go back and you watch our holiday wish list, any of those things that I haven't bought already, so I don't need to worry about the Batra, I don't need to worry about the Crystal Megalon, I don't need to worry about the original Marson 67 and stuff. But will I look if I can find anything from those? I think I'll buy within reason, like because those are things that I would buy if I ever saw them. Right? It would just like, it's not that they're at a toy show; it's that, and I could buy them online. I don't see them. So I'm hoping that the vendors have that. You know, it's weird because I know a lot of these vendors. Some of them I've done toy shows with, like Toy Matrix, and I talk to Erica for his Instagram page. You know, obviously, like Kaiju is going to be there. The great Sean Lincoln back. I know what they've shown. I don't know if they're going to have any of that stuff, but they're my hope that they do because they have really good inventory usually. So I don't know. I'm not, if I come out of there with only one really cool piece, I will be very happy because I'm going in there thinking like, I'm going to focus on the pieces that I've been looking for, I can't find, or something I've never seen before that's just like, oh my God, I got to have this, which I can't predict that because obviously I don't know that it exists. So that's really what I'm focused on. I'm not, other than that, like I'm just going to be open-minded to what they have. And I'm not like specifically looking for a manufacturer, maker, or like vintage versus new or glitter versus glow in the dark. It's going to be
just whatever catches your eye, whatever you see that you know you don't see often.
Yeah, and then of course I think I know there's been all the controversy, and rightfully so, on the Artist Alley, and no, you have to be Toho licensed to be able to do any of that. Everything else has to be original. But aside from that, even though it's much smaller than in the past, I always love going to the Artist Alleys because you never know what cool prints and stuff are going to be there. So I'm excited for that. It's there's not as many vendors at this as I thought there was. So I'm hoping few but mighty. And so yeah, as far as what I'm looking forward to the whole convention, honestly, and as kind of cliche and cheesy as it is, like I'm really excited to meet a lot of the people that I've met online through this community since starting YHS on Monster Island, since starting Toku Toy Town and doing my Pop Shop Lives. Now, are a lot of people that I've enjoyed collaborating with and enjoyed talking to aren't going to be there? Yeah, they're not going to be there for whatever reason, right? It just wasn't right. You know, most of the Collect All Monsters crew is not going to be there. I think Leslie's the only one. You know, folks from like from Kaiju Ramen, who we've been friends with, they're not going to be there. There's a lot of folks that we interact with a lot that just simply aren't going to be there. But there's also a lot that are. So I'm really excited to meet guys like that helped us out with our Show-A-Down Spectacular. I'm excited to meet Danny DeMont. I'm excited to meet Nate March, and I'm excited to meet Thirsty Thursday Toys, Adam Griffin. I'm excited to meet a lot of these folks. And then, of course, I've been fortunate enough to develop some cool relationships with folks through Toku Toy Town. And I'm excited to meet a lot of these awesome, like, super collectors that have a lot of the same interests I do as far as, like, and what items they like and what style of sofubi they like. And so it's always cool to meet like-minded people and just enjoy a beverage, hang out, talk kaiju, talk toys, like we would do when we hang out, like most people do when they hang out with their friends that have very similar interests. So I'm excited for that. Some of the panels are really cool. I have one big challenge. I have one big issue though. On Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember, at 4:00, two of the panels I'm looking forward to the most at the same time.
No.
So there's going to be a Collect All Monsters live stream. So it's that crew who we know and love. And then opposite is the great Matt Burkett from Monstrosities, the Tokusatsu vlog, one of the original kind of like Godzilla. I mean, the dude's so knowledgeable and does really high production work. He was the one that recently did the history of Godzilla Singular Point. I think you watched that. Yeah. He's so cool, a smart guy. He's hosting a panel with like Norman England and I think Ed Gojikowski and all those guys that are like directors, writers, authors, all those guys that are so big in the Godzilla world. I don't know what to do. So that's the one conflict. Everything else I've been able to be like, okay, like I probably want to see this one more, but that's the one that I'm a little I'm a little, I don't know. It'll be a game time decision. And then I'm excited for both the film festival on site as well as the movies that are going to be shown at the Pickwick in the burbs out there, a nice, cool theater. I definitely am going to the Terror of Mechagodzilla screening on Saturday. I won't be able to make the quadruple feature on Thursday. I have some other plans, but I know I'm bummed, but especially for Godzilla versus Megalon, missing that. But I will be able to see definitely Terror of Mechagodzilla. And then there's some cool like indie shorts and documentaries and stuff that are playing on the on-site film festival that I'm excited to see. I know two things I'm not going to see. I know I'm not going to see Rhaegar versus King Oga, and I know or King Rhaegar versus Oga, and I know I'm not going to see freaking War of the God Monsters. It's playing. I won't be seeing that.
Dude, are you sure?
I want to do a live riffing of that film. I would fall asleep. It's the worst.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'm excited for a lot of stuff. It's fun. I mean, I used to live in Chicago, so I'm excited to go back and on Thursday I'm hanging with some old friends there. So yeah, it's going to be a good trip. It's going to be fun. I'll hopefully, like I said, just meet some cool people and get to talk Godzilla for 5 days. I mean, can't beat that, right?
Dude, it's I've wanted to go to G-Fest literally my whole life. You know what I mean? Like I found G-Fan when I was in, I think, elementary school. It's been that long, and it's going to be awesome, dude. I'm glad you're getting to go. It's going to be really cool. I only have 2 Godzilla panels that are happening at Comic-Con. There's the Toho panel, and then I believe on Saturday, I'm not sure if it's one I'm going to be able to try to go to, but there's a panel that's called The Science of Singular Point. And it's like scientists and people who are, know what they're fucking talking about. And I'm like, boy, I don't know if I could handle being in that panel. It's so confusing.
You just go in there and say, orthogonally diagonalize, orthogonally diagonalize, orthogonally diagonalize. And you'll be like, he knows it. He gets it. Red dust this, red dust that. I don't know.
Hey, I'm going to rewatch that. I'm going to rewatch
it's so
Singular
good.
Point.
No, so what? I got a question for you, though, because this is even, like, I'm actually very... not nervous, excited, curious about the Toho panel. Like, what do you think they're going to say? I mean, like, is it going to be like a big, like, dropping a bomb here? Or are we going? Well,
I don't know. Like, if you look at who's on the panel, it is a lot of it's Super 7, Mondo, our friend Attack Peter. Yeah. It's a lot of those people. So I'm like, wow, Mondo is about to drop. I guarantee you they're going to have, that some of those new figures that are coming. Remember, we saw the Biollante back in, they'll probably be showing some of that stuff off. Maybe they're going to unveil other figures that are coming. Maybe we're going to get sneak peeks at some posters or some record. Who knows? Like, it could be anything. Super 7, 100% is about to unveil more Ultimate. Like, that's what's going to happen. They're going to show off more new toys that we don't know about yet. As far as like actual Toho news, I don't think so, right? They don't. Well, does Toho unveil what they're doing with Godzilla at Comic-Con, or do they do it?
I mean, it's Comic-Con. I mean, it is. I mean,
I guess it's possible. Comic-Con. Like, I guess there could be some sort of announcements about the MonsterVerse, or who knows? Like,
both the Apple TV series and the new movie. Does it have Godzilla and it doesn't?
It's the 70th anniversary is coming up, and they specifically said that it's a sneak peek at some of the 70th, stuff. So who knows, man? I think it can be insane. I hope. I'm nervous about it, but I'm definitely going to be there. And then after, I think it's after, but on the same day, I'm also going to the Dinotopia panel because there's a new Dinotopia series coming out, and they're going to be there talking about it, which is crazy to me because I saw some rumors going around Twitter about this a few days before the panel announcement, because there's been no official announcement that there's a Dinotopia show. Nothing.
Yeah.
And the only reason it was going around on Twitter is because it was like buried in the middle of an article talking about a movie company that had gotten some IPs for, some stuff they were working on. And it just like flashed the word Dinotopia. So people were like, wait, what? Dinotopia is getting a series or something? That'd be cool. And everybody was like, yeah, hopefully it actually happens. And then 2 days later, it's like, hey, there's a Dinotopia panel at Comic-Con about the show. And it's like, They haven't even announced it anywhere.
That's
like,
amazing.
That's so crazy. So I was really hoping James Gurney might be there. He's not on the. His name's not on the thing, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But
it's the guy that that acted in the first one that went on to be like kind of famous in Prison Break. That guy, the short hair. I mean, I have it's kind of like a little bit of comfort food. That original series, like the original miniseries or whatever it technically was. But watching it, the acting doesn't hold up very well. And this is none of it that watches kaiju movies.
None of it does. Neither do the dinosaurs. I hope it's. I kind of hope the story is. I hope it sticks close to the book. I hope it's a little. They changed it a little bit for the old show, and I'm sure they'll change it here too. But I hope it's like. I hope it's a closer adaptation of the book, and not just the story idea of what Dinotopia is, and let's change everything. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll see. I'll find out next week.
Well, I'm excited to hear that. And I can't wait to tell you about some of these, some of the panels and other things that I do at G-Fest. In fact, I'm going to run down, not all of them, because they did release the full schedule.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you about some of these, and you tell me if these are you would attend these or are they a hard pass? Now, I'm not going to do I'm not going to mention the panels that are like about just a single Godzilla, like Godzilla versus Hedorah, Godzilla versus Kaiju.
Sure.
Like, I get like we know movies, we know that stuff, but some of the more obscure things and the kind of panels sometimes they're out there. They're reaching for a theme.
This sounds fun. Let's do it.
Yeah, no. So how about this one? So on Friday, after a lot of movie-focused panels, including one on Mothra 61, how about this one? Tokusatsu versus wrestling. It's actually Tokusatsu versus Pro Wrestle. And it's talking about the complex interwoven history, their words, not mine, of kaiju and pro wrestling, not talking about how the two mediums influence each other, as well as some of the characters and performers that have crossed over. How about that one? Would you go to that one?
That one kind of seems like a stretch. Here's my official. So if that was a panel at like Dragon Con or a place where there were no other Godzilla panels, I'd be like, fuck yeah, this sounds insane. Yeah. Let's go to it. But in a place where there's a bunch of Godzilla panels, I might pass on that one for something else.
Nice. I love it. How about this one? This one is hosted only one panel. So this is like a lecture, I guess. Bob Eggleton is doing this one. So
say no more. I'm there.
But listen to this topic. Very interesting. Why the legendary films are important. So he's going to talk about the importance and the high points and questionable points, their words.
I love that.
This film. It's like, I would not have picked him for that, but it's kind of cool.
So he's going to do a TED talk on the legendary film. I want to see that very bad. Yeah. That seems awesome. That seems cool. I love that.
How about this one? This one's right up your alley. Planet of Kaiju Haiku, a brief presentation and workshop on Godzilla-themed short poetry.
Dude, we got to do a panel at G-Fest next year.
Okay, and then there's one. How about this one? Godzilla and the Japanese national spirit. Are the politics of Shin Godzilla right-wing and nationalistic? Brian from Kaiju Vision says it's actually patriotism during a devastated national crisis, the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. And he's doing this big comparative study of everything. You know what? I'm going to pass on that.
Shin Godzilla is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I don't want to go to a politics panel.
No, I don't want to do it.
I just don't.
One movie when I am going to for sure is at 4:00 that day, Space Amoeba. A 50th birthday celebration. So I'm excited for that one. Then there's some stuff for kids. I know you'll pass on that. Some stuff with Terror of Mechagodzilla, the interview with the guest, which will be cool. Okay, here we go. Kaiju video games history raids again. There are more kaiju themed video games than you think. The director of 13 AM Games Creative will walk us through the history of kaiju games.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know there's a lot of them out there, but I don't know about them. I haven't played a lot of them, but that sounds like a very interesting panel.
So this is one that I was bummed I couldn't go to, this next one, because there was the Don Fry interview, but Don Fry had to cancel because of his illness. Yeah. So how about this one? Destroy all teasers, a lost films trailer reel. Most movies are unreleased, never make it past scripting. Some get good pitch reels, pilot films, and even publicly released trailers. This is a panel that are going to go through some of the best of those unreleased kaiju films and their pitch reels, pilot films, or trailers.
That's 100%.
That's a cool one, right?
That's a cool one.
There's one here on Kaiju Writers Unite.
You got to go to that one.
What? I mean,
are you on that panel?
I'm not on that panel.
Dude, just walk up and sit down like you are. Nobody will.
I want to be like, I've checked all these people. None of them are members of the SFWA. I'm credentialed. Here's what I always love telling this to my wife. Because of my books that I wrote, and I did because of luckily, thank you for all the fans, the success of them. I was able to get in the SFWA, and like I can get health insurance for my books, for me through my books through the SFWA. I mean, it is a cool organization.
That's cool.
Because I've met all the sales criterias and stuff. Anyway, but I'm not on this panel. What the hell?
Tragedy.
There's a live podcast from the Kaiju Kingdom.
Okay.
Cool. And then there's a live art drawing with Matt Frank and Hiroshi Kanatani. Yeah.
Now, is he going to be allowed to draw Godzilla in this?
He has the license, I think.
Okay, he does.
All right. So he will be able to. He's one of the two that have it. Then there's going to be the Collect All Monsters panel and Behind the Kaiju Curtain, the Norman England with Matt Burkett. And then there's the costume parade in the Hall of Fame. I'm curious to see who gets the G-Fan Hall of Fame. And then the last day, there's a Women of the Kaiju fandom.
Okay.
But it's only hosted by one woman, so I don't know. That'd be Women of the Kaiju fandom.
Where are the rest?
And then there's one that you and I definitely would go to, and I think we would be front row. Thunder Lizards of the Far East, an overview of Asian dinosaur movies.
Oh, yes.
That looks cool, right? Korean,
100%.
Chinese, and Japanese dinosaur movies. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And then there's a panel on Cthulhu and H.P. Lovecraft and inspirations with Godzilla, or the inspirations of that on Godzilla. And this one is an interest on doing a live script doctoring of can they rewrite and save Godzilla versus King Ghidorah 91 and all the convoluted storyline. They're going to do a live discussion. and the two men doing it were on our show at Down Spectacular. Danny DeMana and Nate Marchand are going to do this live. That'll be pretty cool.
That's 100. I would go to that too. That sounds very fun.
Okay, and there's two more. Yeah. And there's two more. And how I wasn't on the first one and how you weren't on the second one is crazy. Or at least asked. Flown out there, put up in first class penthouse. The first one is there's a figure of that and a discussion of obscure kaiju collectibles.
Yeah.
I mean,
who knows more?
Do.
Who knows more?
I have plush squeaky hammers. Come on. And then the next one is Talk Asatsu, Kaiju and Tokusatsu podcasters and YouTubers roundtable. That's going to have Kaiju Kim and a lot of other folks. Danny's on that one. Nate's on that one. There are a lot of them. And then the last one is GMK look back at the controversial film, and they're just going to do a little bit of recap there. So those are some of the panels. There's more, but those are kind of the ones
dude, that's a good spattering of some wacky ones. Yeah. Just like the Godzilla franchise itself. Sounds like there's some serious ones in there. There's some real poignant panels happening, and then there's some fucking weird, silly ones. And that's how it should be. I love that.
That's how it should be, because that's how we are as fans. There's serious fans that treat it as high art. There's silly fans that buy plush squeaky hammers. And then there's everybody that's in the middle. So, no, I'm excited. There's going to be some cool stuff. I'm very curious to see. And you're right. We should do one of these. I mean, come on.
Maybe next year. Maybe next year. We'll see. We'll see what we can do.
G-Fest needs us.
If there's even a G-Fest next year. Yeah, dude. I'm excited. We both have some mighty trips ahead of us, and whenever we're back here on Monster Island in 2 weeks, we will be able to. I believe it'll be a nice recap show. I'm sure there's going to be a lot for both of us to talk about.
Yeah, probably
on the next
news
episode.
Yeah.
Well, dang, Jay, do you got anything else for this week, or did we do it?
We did. Thank you so much for setting up the interview. That was awesome. Tech Peter's great,
dude.
And I'm
He's
excited.
So cool.
And I'm excited for G-Fest. I'm excited for you to be credentialed at San Diego Comic-Con. Not many people in the world can say that, dude. That's pretty awesome.
It's going to be awesome. And listen, if anybody's listening and they're at either one of these events and you see us, say hi.
Yeah. Only charge $5 for a photo.
Just no eye contact, but say hi. Well, I think that's about it, Jay. Guys, we will see you next time. Bye. A toy.